Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian report, and starting with the Aussie US dollar here on the daily chart. And I just want to point out the two counts that we're actually looking at here. And the primary count is having wave 3 here, and then looking at all of this here as the corrective pattern up for wave 4 and then wave 5 to the downside. Okay, so within that we're looking at an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here in blue, which we are looking for 5 waves up through to here. So we're in the last leg at the moment. That could finish at the 78 here. And secondly, the second count, which is just nearly as viable really, is basically having wave 3 here. All of this here just being wave 4 to this point here, essentially pulling back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, and having this move down here as wave 5, as the orange wave 5, and then all of this up here for wave 1 up here, and then we'll pull back for wave 2, and then we would go higher from that point. So they're both sort of valid counts, and I guess we won't really be able to work this out until we I mean, I'm talking about evidence. I'm not talking about, the guessing game. We would need to see what occurs in these moves down through here. So, if we can figure out that we've got a corrective wave here, then we know that we have wave 1. If we get an impulse wave down, then we know that we're in wave 5. It won't make a lot of difference in the initial move here. It's something that we'll have to work out along the way. Now, one of the things that we can do to sort of start this off a little bit, I mean, it's likely that this market will be pulled up to the 80 here, but the wave count and structure itself in this current leg, would really just take us to the 78. 8's a profit-taking number, and the 78's obviously a smaller degree than the major level here, 80. So we should expect to see some sort of profit-taking coming in at this 8 here. But what I wanted to point out is that this move up to the 78, let's just say that that's where it goes to, and we can adjust it later, but the 50 and the 61.8% is here. So essentially, if we get 3 waves to the 61.8% area, then it's highly likely that we would be having a correction at that. This would be a bullish correction at this point in time. If it's going to be an impulse wave that's going to go down further, then it's likely that we would get 5 waves down to this point here. That's just one sort of way of working it out what's going to happen. Because if this is going to be an A and a B and a C here, then we won't know that until it basically moves back up past the 61.8% of this move down and starts to overlap this structure and so forth. So it's going to take time. So this is just one way of actually looking at it here. And also too, if it's wave 2 here, if this is going to be wave 1 here, and then wave 2 here, then it's probably likely too that this market would first of all react at 80 here, but then move up to 78, react here, but then move up to the 80, and then the ABC that it has here would be pretty much in line with stocks at that time and commodities and so on. So it may only pull back to this sort of area here, which would be more appropriate, because this number here is likely, well, it's going to see profit taking, but at the same time, if it's going to be wave 1, it's likely going to sort of hang on to it as well here, because this is a milestone here and will attract attention at the same time. On the 15-minute chart here, in just terms of actually sort of trading this here, the RBA, there's 2 things going on today with this, is that there's some minutes at 11:30, and I think Glenn is going to speak at 2:30 as well. So, but just check that time there. Okay, so anyway, they're 2 important times that you're going to have to be careful today with this. But important numbers here are, of course, 7727 and then 78 here. And of course here at the moment we're at the midpoint here. So the midpoint's the 50, get that reasonably close there. So basically, if you're going to go long here, then you want that 50, 77.50 as a nice solid tested support. I'm looking at this here as 5 waves up. Well, start from the bottom, wave 1 and 2, and going up to wave 3. Looking for 5 waves in that. We've got 1 and 2 here. Then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I just don't think that that's finished just yet. So that will come up into group 2 here. And in group 2, there's going to be 65, 72 and 80. But this 72 here will have a bit more to say about things. So expect the market to be stuck there for a little while. And it will come into play later on over here a lot as well. So wave 3 and 4 here, and then up for 5, then an A and a B and a C back here. So this is where the 772 comes in, and then up here for 5 here, and then fading at that point there. So it may not go that high either. Probably always look to the 30 here. So 78, 30, close enough. So across there, so to speak. And that's what we're looking for there. This kind of ending pattern here is much the same as our banks as well. So if you're trading banks up, if you're trading banks or if you're trading the Australian market, you want to be looking at the Australian dollar. You want to be looking at the ASX 200. You want to have, CBA or Westpac sitting there and Rio or BHP sitting there as well. So you've got some understanding of material sector and finance sector and the other the other markets that are involved in it, because they'll all be doing much the same thing today for a little while, because we've got resources and finance on our side they're both heading in the same direction. If finance and materials are in the opposite direction, then it makes the Australian dollar and also the ASX 200 a very choppy sort of non-ranging sort of market. Okay, that's that for that. Now for the Euro Aussie here, we're looking at 5 waves down from wave 4 here, so wave 1 and 2 and wave 3 here, ABC for wave 4 here and down for wave 5. So wave 5 can move down. Obviously we need to be mindful of this particular low here, but the important numbers are 145 and 144 here, and they still have, just go to the 15-minute chart to pick this up a little bit. So yeah, 5 waves down, wave 3, wave 4, and then 1 and 2. This is just not completed here just yet. So it will probably move down below the 145 sort of area here, but not too far below it. But yeah, these two are the important numbers here. So not a lot left in here, and expect bounces at this low and also the previous spike low over yonder here. And this is the same for the pound Aussie as well. Of course, here that wave 4, when it gapped here, well, it gapped in quite a few markets, didn't it? So we need to take that with a pinch of salt, but it has created an overlapping wave structure here. But in currencies and leveraged derivatives, that tends to happen. There's 3 Elliott rules, and wave 4 overlapping wave 1 is the one that's broken the most in terms of derivatives. So we're aware of it. We pay a little bit of attention to it, but at the same time, we need to just be a little bit mindful. But if this is the corrective pattern here, then this has still got further to go. We'd still expect it to at least come down to the 183 area here. So not really worth trading at this stage on this one, but certainly any break lower would be something that you would be looking to be on the short side of. And in terms of this count here, it would be down for 1, back for 2, then all of this is third wave. And in the third wave, there would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So it's going to get, all this here is going to be support here. So there'll be a 4 and there'll be back up here for 4 hitting supply here. And then down here again. So a bit of a choppy journey for the Euro and Pound Aussies. And I wanted to bring our attention to the Euro New Zealand here. As you can see here, it's is breaking lower here. And the most important thing about all of this is that the 165 that was the support is now being tested as the resistance, and we're breaking lower here. So this is a bit of a short trade coming into this space here. So I think that this is a reasonable opportunity to focus on and apply your trading tools here, because this level here is now being rejected, and that means that it opens the door for lower ground. Alrighty, cheers.